right, so this is our agenda for today. We'll be covering an overview of the North Texas Community Cleanup Challenge, several resources that we have developed to help our participants, reporting of the data, the website user portal, joining the Mayor's Challenge and what that means, and end with a few FAQs and a Q&A session. So before we dive into the specifics of the cleanup challenge, we wanted to start with a brief overview of some baseline data on litter collection for the 16-county North Central Texas region. So the NCTCC-JOIN recently analyzed some data that we received from Keep Texas Beautiful to help us establish a baseline picture of litter removal within our region. There are 94 different organizations represented in that data, the majority of them, 74, being KTB affiliates. While this is a large number of organizations, we do realize the limitations of this information as this data was voluntarily reported to KTB and does not represent 100% of the efforts happening around the region. And due to that voluntary nature of the data, we do have to state that the accuracy and completeness is unable to be verified. There could have been more events and litter collected than what was reported, or the estimates given of that collected litter could have been somewhat higher or lower. Those limitations notwithstanding, this still gives us a fairly good baseline for our region. So we broke down the data for the 5-year period of 2015 to 2020 by county to see where these litter cleanup events were happening and how much was being collected by county. And as you might expect, being some of our larger counties, Tarrant, Dallas, and Cullen represent the largest portion of these efforts. The total number of pounds voluntarily reported to KTB between 2015 and 2020 was 2,502,434 pounds. So just for reference, that number is equivalent to the weight of 1,390 longhorn bulls. So when you're looking at the litter collected by year and keeping in mind that these numbers were voluntarily reported, the total volume of trash collected grew most years until 2020. So in 2018, we saw 842,945 pounds of litter collected. In 2019, we saw that at 920,479 pounds of litter collected. And then obviously COVID had a significant impact on cleanups last year as the total fell to just around 107,000 pounds. So we're hoping that as a region in 2021, we can see these numbers bounce back to closer to the pre-pandemic numbers as everyone finds a way to safely organize and host cleanup events and encourage or inspire individual actions. So the average litter collection in pounds in recent pre-COVID years was north of 1,200 pounds. This may be helpful to anyone when considering planning out supplies such as bags, buckets, or dumpsters that may be needed for cleanup events. However, if you've been doing organized cleanup events for a while and collecting that data, you best know how to prepare for what you need. We have one last data point before we get into the specifics of the cleanup challenge. So in recent pre-COVID years, the number of cleanup events by year have been steadily climbing. And our hope is that we can make 2021 the year that we bounce back and we see these numbers rebound. Right, so for those of you who are not familiar with the North Texas Community Cleanup Challenge, what it is and how it came to be, I'd like to give a brief overview of its history. So the idea for the cleanup challenge was first conceptualized by the Stormwater Public Education Task Force, which is a subgroup of the Regional Stormwater Management Coordinating Council in 2019 as part of their FY20 work program that focused on addressing litter and floatables. The group came up with the idea to create a cleanup challenge as a way to inspire a friendly competition amongst North Texas communities and residents. The cleanup challenge was delayed by COVID in 2020, but we're really excited to finally be launching this competition this fall. The challenge timeframe is set for September 1st through October 31st. And due to the enthusiasm and support shown for the cleanup challenge so far, it is expected to return in the spring of 2022 and 2023 in partnership with work that is being done under our Trash Free Waters grant project. So most of you here today are likely the expert on litter cleanup efforts for your communities, but I do want to take a few moments to remind us all why addressing litter is so important and why the Stormwater Public Education Task Force chose to address this problem by creating the Cleanup Challenge. So litter, illegal dumping, escaped trash in the environment, these are not only unsightly, but they're also harmful to the health of our watersheds and the humans and animals that live in them. Locally, litter and debris can clog storm drains and contribute to flooding. The litter that then makes its way into our streams, rivers, and lakes or other local water bodies can impact the health of the drinking water sources of many Texans and could ultimately find its way to the Gulf of Mexico. Then I do have a few statistics that I'd like to share. So approximately 362 million pieces of litter accumulate on Texas roads each year, according to Don't Mess with Texas. Roadside litter across the US is down 54% in the past decade. An estimate of 23.7 billion pieces was the recent estimate by the Keep America Beautiful 2020 National Litter Study. However, litter along waterways is estimated to be at 23.7 billion pieces. And trash, packaging, and improperly disposed of waste from sources on land account for 80% of the marine debris that's found on beaches during cleanups and through surveys, according to the EPA Trash Free Waters program. So that brings us to our challenge. So who all can participate in this challenge? And simply put, everyone. We don't want to limit anyone who lives or works in the North Central Texas region from joining the challenge. We really want to encourage our communities as a whole to get involved in the challenge and be inspired to make environmental stewardship a priority. So what does that mean for the competition? While we are not limiting anyone from participating to get the full benefits of the challenge, we do encourage our communities to sign up early and begin advertising their events or participation to get the maximum benefit. We set a deadline of October 1st to get signed on, and in a few minutes, Brian will walk everyone through what that process is and what it looks like. Once registered, you'll be able to post your cleanup events on the calendar on the website and be recognized on the website as a participating community. Individual efforts by our community members count too, not just organized cleanup events. So any cleanup of litter and trash at our residents' local parks, neighborhoods, or blocks in which they live or work that is collected at any time during the challenge timeframe can also be reported and count towards the community in which they collected that litter. So make sure as you get involved with the cleanup challenge to go ahead and encourage your community members to get out and make a difference where they live, work, or play. And so even if a community doesn't officially sign on to the challenge, if any of their residents go out and do a local cleanup and log their individual data into the website, that community does show up on the leaderboard. However, that community will not be eligible for the trophy contention without going through the process of signing up. This is meant to be an incentive to join, not punitive, and a reward for those communities that are making an organized effort. So in a few minutes, Brian Geck is going to walk everyone through the detailed process, but here's just a short overview of the steps that you'll need to take to join the North Texas Community Cleanup Challenge at a community or an organizational level. So you just navigate to our log cleanup page, select community account sign in, create a new user account, and enter your info and post your cleanup events to the calendar. It's really simple and easy. Just some important things to keep in mind is you do need to be signed up by October 1st to be eligible for the trophy, and all of your litter cleanup data must be logged by November 30th. Don't forget to advertise your participation in the cleanup challenge when promoting your events, and use our hashtag NTX cleanup challenge before, during, and after the event. And please feel free to make use of the logo. The hashtag helps us track activity and further promote the challenge within the region, and we would definitely love to see pictures of your communities in action. And don't forget that you can also, if you have adopt-a-spots, you can count your adopt-a-spot collection data if that gets reported back directly to you. So to participate in the challenge, if you're just an individual participant, it's also still really easy. So you'll just pick up litter anytime during the challenge timeframe in your neighborhood, community, or place of work, and log that on the log cleanup page by selecting log individual cleanup and entering your data. We do ask that individual participants not log data for an event they have attended, as the information should be passed on to the event coordinators and reported by them to help eliminate any double counting or reporting. And don't forget to make sure that they know that they can continue to make an impact beyond organized events by cleaning up their local neighborhoods and parks and streets at any time. So the scoring to even the playing field between our larger and our smaller communities is going to be calculated using a weighted average of collected litter and trash, the number of volunteers, and volunteer hours on a per capita basis. And then we're going to divide that by the city's population. And we'll be using the population estimates from the North Central Texas Council of Governments 2019 population estimates. So we've put together some resources to help everyone get the most out of their participation in the cleanup challenge. For our local governments, they can be found on the website under Toolbox and then Partner Downloads. In the Toolbox, you can find a template press release. We do have a Spanish version that's going to be coming soon for our communities that may have a large Spanish-speaking population. And then we have a template of a proclamation for those who want to join the Mayor's Challenge. We've also put together a Know Before You Go guide that has general guidelines and safety tips that can be utilized for your organized events if you don't already have this type of information together. And we've posted our logos here in this toolkit so you can download them and use them on any print or social media when advertising your participation. We've also posted some educational resources on stormwater and litter that you may want to check out and share with your communities heading into the cleanup challenge to illustrate that correlation between litter and stormwater and water quality. These resources include several videos that have been developed by the Stormwater Public Education Task Force and some monthly social media toolkits that focus on litter and floatables that can be adapted and personalized for your community. And these were developed by the Public Education Task Force as part of their FY20 work program along with this challenge. And one really neat thing about these toolkits is that they focus on one type of litter or floatable each month, and they follow the pattern of 2 educational posts, one post highlighting an environmental organization or program that addresses that featured litter or floatable, and then the last post is a call to action or behavior change. We've also posted a link to some resources by the Keep Texas Beautiful organization. And we also have put together some resources to help our community members who would like to get out and take action on their own. Those resources can be found on the website in the toolbox under participant support. And in that toolbox, they'll find info such as safety tips, guidance on cleaning up PPE, what to wear, and a small collection of related PSA videos on litter and COVID safety tips for volunteers. So we hope that these resources are useful to you all, and we would love to hear back on what you found most helpful or useful, and if there are any resources that you might find helpful in the future. And so with that, I will be turning it over to Brian Geck.
Hello, everybody. So I'm going to just give a real quick overview and sort of walk you through the different steps in using the website and logging your cleanup efforts and how it works. So I'll go through a couple of slides and then I'll actually just pull up the live website and then log in and show you what it looks like. So the first thing that I'm going to cover is logging your individual cleanups or logging your event. So in the menu bar, it's just right up at the top. You click log cleanup, and then you're either going to choose an event or an individual cleanup. And so I'd like to know that they're different. They go to different forms. The events asked for a lot more detailed reporting. where the individual one is geared more towards, keeping it short and sweet, so that way people are not discouraged from logging their data. Everything is mobile friendly. So for example, if you're an individual who just walked your local park and picked up some trash and you want to log it, you can do that right from your phone. It'll ask for permission, but you can allow it to know your location, and it'll drop a pin on the park for where you actually picked up that litter. And then you can also do the same thing in the events as well. And so you do not have to create an account to log a cleanup. You don't have for an event or for an individual effort. We wanted to keep as low a friction as possible. And you can even, as long as you enter your email address, you can come back and retroactively create an account, and all your data will be there because everything's tied to your email address if you provide it. But if you want to create an account, which we hope that everybody will, most people on this call, we're hoping for you to sign up and you be a city representative, community representative. So you'll want to go to the log cleanup page, and then down at the bottom, there is the option to sign in to the account, or at the very, very bottom is the link to create a new account. You simply fill out the form. Once you fill out the form, it lets you in right away. But if you need to get in when you come back to log in, you have to have verified your email address. So it sends you a verification email, and you click the link in that email. So if you try to go back in and you haven't verified your email address, it's gonna prompt you to verify your email address again. So pretty simple. And then when you do log in, you are presented with a dashboard that kind of tracks all your own individual reports and efforts. And then we'll go over how to officially participate as a community to get your name on the leaderboard and your logo plastered all over our website, so we can promote your community as well. Then we also have an event calendar. So if you're hosting an event, you can post information there, and it will be added to our calendar of events on the website. And then you can even go in and edit reports that you've made. So if you've got updated data or accidentally realized you messed up, you can go in and edit reports. So with that, I will share my screen. Okay, so I'm here on the homepage of the website. And as I mentioned before, pretty much everything is going to be under this log cleanup. So you go there. If I were an individual, I would just click individual, and it brings me to this very simple form. And I'm just filling out, it was just me or two people, time, type of area. Just fill out the form, and then I'm done. If I put in my email address, that's what's going to tie it to my account if I have an account. Same thing for the cleanup event. It's just much more detailed. So we're going to ask, adults and children. So over 18, under 18, number of hours, and then the different types of areas. So it's a little bit more detailed of a report. And then if you scroll down to the bottom, this is where the user account sign in is. If you need to create a new account, you would go here first, create a user account. And so it's real simple, just fill out basic form, create the account. And if you already have an account, just log in. And so here under my account, I have a little bit of test data in here just to kind of show what it looks like. And as as you make reports and do things, you get a nice little dashboard across the top that shows you your cumulative efforts that you've reported through the challenge. And then down below is where you kind of manage all your other elements. So this My Community is where you're going to want to go. First thing, this is going to attach your community to the challenge. So if we only need one sponsor, so one representative from each city or county to fill this out, and you will notice that if it has already been claimed, I can't, for example, Mansfield has already signed up for the challenge. I can't claim Mansfield. And so it says 2021, they've already claimed it. But if I want, let's go say Fort Worth. Most of the logos for the major cities in the North Texas region, I have preloaded. So if your logo pops up and it's totally fine, you don't have to worry about it. Or if it does not pop up, you can choose a file and upload either a JPEG or a PNG of your logo file so that appears all over our website. Or if you just want to update it, then you can choose that file here. You just simply choose a file. And then you have to say, yes, we will participate. And yes, I am authorized to represent this community. And then I'm going to go ahead and submit for Fort Worth. But if anyone is on from Fort Worth, don't worry, I'll go back and undo my steps. So I'll submit. And that's pretty much all that you need to do for that. If I were to come back to the Community Cleanup Challenge, you will now notice Fort Worth is added to the list. And then they are also on the leaderboard. So that only has to be done once. And then, so back in the dashboard, if you have any efforts logged already, you can come back in here and view them or edit them. So you can they'll start displaying in a list through there. So you can come back and see all the details. If, well, I don't like that pin, maybe I just want to fine tune the adjustments there. Or I had, the number of bags incorrect or whatever, I can edit my reports here. Organizations. So organizations and events are going to display on this Find Events page on the public side of the website. So events will populate onto our calendar here. You can also view it as a schedule. And then organizations are just kind of a way to promote your organization. So if you're doing regular litter cleanups, this is a good way to kind of help drive traffic to your website. So for example, Tarrant Regional Water District, we can have them show up. Then it's just a link to their website. And then this is how you manage it here. So you would simply create a new organization and then fill in the information. You can upload your own image or logo if you would like, or you can just use the default. You can also go back and edit and update any organization. And then events are what will display on that calendar. So you would just click create a new event, fill in all your information for the event. We leave it a little bit open. So description, you can put whatever you want. Event contact info, you can use these 3 lines however you really need. Maybe you're putting more detailed location information, or you just say, do this when you arrive. So we kind of leave that open. And then your organization and your website, just ways for them to contact you. And then you can even go so far as if I were to have one here at the COG offices, you can type your address, click find on map, it'll move the pin there. And then you can even say, oh, well, we want to meet here, so you can fine tune the adjustments. And then you would just click submit, and that will add it onto the calendar of events. So that way people can find ways to get plugged in and help participate. And so we want to build on and try and help any existing events. And if you're putting on new events or events specific just for this, then that's great. We want to help promote it. We just want to get people out and picking up litter, cleaning up our environment. And then it doesn't matter if you're logged in or not, or logging the cleanups. These are the same buttons that are on the public site. So I just put them there for convenience. It jumps you into the form to clean up, to log your cleanup. And then, as Krista already mentioned, we have it posted all over the place with buttons to easily get it. But we know social media is can be super important to these kinds of efforts. So please use the hashtag NTX Cleanup Challenge, and hopefully we can start getting some traction with that on all the social media channels. And I believe that's it. So I will turn it back over to Krista.
So this brings us to the Mayor's Challenge. So the option of joining the Mayor's Challenge gives communities an opportunity to get their city leadership involved from the top down and harness some of that competitive nature between neighboring communities. Joining the Mayor's Challenge does take a little bit more effort up front, but we think it's a great way to advertise your participation and that your city is dedicated to making the community a cleaner and healthier place to live, work, and play. So to join, you'll just download the proclamation template from our website and adjust it as appropriate to suit your city needs. Pass it through City Council, and once that's been completed, just send a copy to the COG so that way we can track our Mayor's Challenge participants, and then make sure that you advertise that you guys are being a part of that additional layer to the challenge and taking on the Mayor's Challenge. And so what does the extra work get you? So we will be sending out a thank you and a shout out to all of our Mayor's Challenge participants in our newsletters and on the website and via It's Your Region. And there will also be a separate Mayor's Challenge trophy. And so we've already received a couple of questions about the cleanup challenge. So we've started a short FAQ to help address some of the common questions that we received. And so you can find those here. The first one is, are there any restrictions or requirements around the kinds of events that qualify for the challenge? And is yes. So the events should be any type of litter cleanup that takes place at parks, along roadways or waterways, etc. And cleanups at adopted spots can count too. So basically, if you have people or volunteers cleaning up outside, they're cleaning up litter and trash, that counts. So is there a deadline to sign on? And yes, we do want our communities that want to officially participate to sign on by October 1st. The earlier you sign on, the more time there is to advertise your participation, plan any events, and gather people who are interested. And then is there a deadline for reporting data? Yes, all cleanup data must be reported or entered by November 30th of this year. And how do you measure the litter data that you're reporting? So the reporting form does use common metrics that are used by Keep Texas Beautiful, such as estimated weights per bags. We wanted to keep things kind of harmonious with a lot of the other cleanup organizations that are out there. And so we used what they use. And if you want to ensure that your data is most accurate, you might want to consider investing in a luggage or a fish scale that can be readily purchased online or at a sporting goods store. All right, so that brings us to our Q&A session. So if you have any questions, please feel free to unmute your line, or if you want to just place your question in the chat, we're definitely happy to field questions through the chat.
I might have a question for just really any city. So I have never coordinated a cleanup event myself. So if there's any cities that would be willing to talk to me on how you guys started your events and what you did to start it, what we're thinking is creating a cleanup event for the city of Carrollton, but capping it off maybe at 50 people just because it'd be my first time, so we don't want to get overwhelmed. And since this is going to be a continuing thing we do every year, then we can kind of grow as this program grows as well. And I'm Devin Jones, or Jones Simmons now, so.
Okay, Devin, do you want to put your email address in the chat? Would you feel comfortable doing that so people can reach out to you?
Yeah, definitely.
Perfect.
Hi, my name is Nusha. So we have a nonprofit organization that the volunteers would love to do this kind of a event. The question is, so I was so late to the meeting. I really apologize. Is there any way I can get a copy of this program today so I can look at it again and catch up with all the information that was provided?
Yes, definitely. I did see your note in the chat, and so
Yes.
and you posted your email address. So we will be doing a post webinar follow-up email that will include a recording link and a link to the presentation, so we can definitely make sure you receive that.
Awesome. And so you want us, our organization or the group, to find a place to go do this event, or is there anything that's set up and we can join?
That is that's a great question. So you are welcome to go either way. So if I don't know where the majority of your volunteers live or work, but like let's say that you're based in Dallas, and so you might want to find a cleanup event already happening in Dallas using our calendar, or browsing through some of the organizations that are listed on the website. Or if there's not anything that's happening near you, you are definitely welcome to kind of organize your own little small community group and go out together and do something together.
That's great. Thank you.
You're welcome.
Krista, I think then I'm able to speak now. Thank you for the invitation to speak. My name is Hazel Wiltz. I'm representing Living Waters Park Association, or organization actually. Our property is between two cities, Arlington and Fort Worth. We're on the shore of Arlington, and our cleanup issues have to do with the water as it enters into the site for Living Waters Park. So we need support, we need cleanup support and direction for that, because there's always a question as to who is responsible and accountable for what, whether it's to do with the watershed from Village Creek or whatever the issues are. So we're wanting to help get volunteers organized to clean up. But when you talk about going into a cove and the recesses of debris that build up, not on our site, then you also have, risk of what's there in the water. Mm-hmm. So any direction that we could be given or a particular contact in your organization would be extremely beneficial. We've been working on this project for a few years and have a considerable amount of support from Trinity River Authority, Tarrant Regional Water District, UT Arlington, Tarrant County College, but still we need a little more support and direction as to who to help us move that particular part of our project forward.
Okay. Do you mind dropping your contact information in the chat so that we can follow up with you maybe in a little better detail after the webinar? And Hazel, I do see in the chat someone has posted that Rowlett is on Lake Ray Hubbard along with 2 other cities, and they're happy to talk with you about how they handle their cleanups on the lake. And they've put their email address in there. So definitely make sure you get that.
Absolutely. I appreciate that for sure.
Yeah, happy to make that connection.
I'm sorry, I'm going to ask you again. I'm with MTO Shah Masudi. About the mayor's proclamation, could you provide the link again where we can go to get that information from?
Sure. So that is going to be in our partners download section of the website, and I'll put that in the chat right.
Thank you.
You're welcome. And that does, you can either download that as a PDF or as a Word document. And another guest in the chat, Hazel, has mentioned that the city of Austin and Keep Austin Beautiful have lots of on-the-water cleanup activities with canoe and kayak groups. So that might be another good resource to look to, is the city of Austin and Keep Austin Beautiful.
Very good. I see that.
And Krista, this is Elena.
Hi, Elena.
There's a question in the chat. Are you going to reach out to the mayors about the Mayor's Challenge?
So that's a great question. So we were actually kind of relying on you, our litter cleanup and our community volunteer experts to lead that initiative with your city. But if you would like our help reaching out to your mayor, we're definitely happy to help, because there may be questions, about what is this cleanup challenge. So we're definitely happy to help assist with that.
And on that note, this is Elena again. Rebecca Sales says that our mayor in Mansfield has created a video to challenge surrounding mayors.
Yay! Love it. That's awesome. Thank you so much. Can't wait to see that.
And there's a question in the chat also from Kathy Fonville and Mesquite. Are we recording the volume of litter collected in pounds?
Brian, I do believe that answer is yes. Correct?
Yes, so we used weight classes. So we ask you, is it, what is the weight class? And then we list in parentheses the pounds. So we don't ask specifically for pounds, but we ask you to say, it's 3 bags that are, lightweight. So, and then we also provide examples, if it's all bottles, a bag full of bottles is we have average numbers, and it's all tracked in pounds.
And just to go back to you, Devin, at Carrollton really quickly, since I know you're going to be working on this, creating an event kind of from scratch, it'll be your first time. We do have in the partners toolbox the general guidelines and safety tips document. That might be helpful for you, so you don't have to recreate something. We did look to a lot of our other local governments within the region, and also HJAC, who coordinates the trash bash down there in their region, for suggestions on safety tips, what to wear, and compiled those into a document, common things that we saw across different local governments. So that might be helpful for you. So that's at least one less document that you might have to recreate.
Yeah, I have already downloaded it and saved it in my documents. So I appreciate that. I'm probably going to try to incorporate it into some of our other programs. I wanted to try to make a packet for all of the volunteers to distribute. So that is extremely helpful already. Thank you.
Okay, great. And so I see a question from Risa. She said that her neighborhood association is considering participating, and they want to know if they should sign up as an organization. Yes, definitely. If you want to sign up as an organization, so way you can have other members within your community find your events. They can, search for the name of your neighborhood association. Your data will be reported under the city of Dallas if that's where you live and you're collecting the litter, but you're definitely welcome to create your own organization on the website. So I see a question from Jennifer, who says she's the executive director of a KTB affiliate, and she wants to know if she can sign up her city, and then they are the coordinators. So so I know like the KTB affiliates can be different within different communities. Some work as a separate kind of like nonprofit outside of the city, but some are tied into the city. So you may just want, depending on how you're set up, your affiliate is set up, you may just want to have a conversation with your local government and make sure that no one else, no other departments there are going to sign up to be the coordinator for that city. I'm just trying to catch up on the chat just a little bit here. So I see a question if Frisco can participate. Yes, Frisco can participate. They are within our region. All right, do we have any other questions? Did I miss anyone? Jennifer, I see your question. That's a good question. You feel free to use your own affiliate's logo, but just make sure that you are selecting the city, the city where you're located, that city in the user fields, so it gets reported to the right city. And Josue Diaz, Brian is also getting an error when he tries to register his city. Josue, are you with Allen? Did I remember that correctly? Okay, City of Allen, perfect. Okay, so we're nearing the end of our time. So I do want to, if you do have any additional questions that pop up, or you run into any errors with the website, please feel free to reach out to us so that way we can help you troubleshoot those. This program is a part of the Regional Stormwater Management Coordinating Council as a program under the Stormwater Public Education Task Force. And I work with that group along with our pollution prevention group. And Carolyn Horner is over the Regional Stormwater Management Coordinating Council. And so we love it when our, so, you know, feel free to reach out to one of us or Brian if you're having more technology type issues. And we love it when our communities connect with us online and social media. So you can find all of our user names and handles located here on this slide. And that concludes our webinar today. Thank you everyone so much for joining us. We are really excited to be getting this community cleanup challenge kicked off.